Number 6. So this next show I also binge watched.
Yeah.
I think it's another very awesome
Binge.
sitcom that they made a movie out of it with Charlotte Flair or Ashley Flair, whatever. Psych.
Oh, yes.
And the show was one of the best I've seen in a while. It's basically a dramedy, so it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of. It's a very funny show, but you get
Fight scenes.
fight scenes and dramatic scenes, and the last episode of the season is always a drama
Yeah.
scene, so it's kind of hard to know when to laugh, but
Yeah.
basically you've got a guy called Sean Spencer who, when he's a kid, his dad, he is a cop, so he's trying to get his son to close his eyes and picture what's around the room.
Mm.
And so years later he goes into the police station and he meets this chick called Jules,
Mm.
and then she works with her partner Lassiter, or they call him Lassie.
Mm.
So Sean hangs out with a guy called Gus. They pretend, well, he pretends to be a sidekick, and it's a pretty cool show. Like, each week it's, he bullshits his way through being a sidekick while trying to deal with his dad, and it's a pretty cool show. And it's one of those shows that I should really get on DVD myself, but yeah, it's one show that I really enjoyed watching all the way through. There's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of guest stars. Basically, I don't know who it is on the crew. I'm pretty sure it's the main character, but they're wrestling fans,
Yes.
and they're always like it's thrown in some kind of wrestling trivia on the show, which is amazing. And when they had the guest starring role on Raw, they appeared on as a guest star on Raw. Yeah. So it's a really cool show, and you've got Corbin Burnson's on there, who's a famous actor, and we got a bunch of other cool actors on there. But it's another show that I definitely want to get on DVD. I think it was awesome when I watched it, and I mean, it was on for a few years. It wasn't even 10, but it was pretty cool anyways.
Yeah. Well, like Matt said, Charlotte did a cameo appearance in the movie of Psych, and I believe John Cena made a couple of guest star appearances on Psych as well.
And Miz,
Yes.
Mike Mizanin. But yeah, very cool just to watch that show. It was a lot of fun. Again, it's one of those, yeah, it's really funny, but it's also got a really serious parts in there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It also goes back from, it'll show in the beginning of the show, or episodes, scenes from when he was a kid. And then flashback to the future, or the present. So,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Right on. Next for me is a show I just came up with kind of randomly. I watched it. It's a pretty good show. I'm not exactly sure how long it lasted. It's again one of those shows that you wouldn't want your younger children to watch. I'd say you might want to be over the age of 16, 18 to watch this show. It was a show called Sons of Butchers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically you got these three guys that are friends and they work in a butcher shop and they drink and they swear and it's kind of an all around just random show. I don't even know if it made like 2 years, 3 years, something like that. I don't think it lasted very long. It was a fairly good show. Just a show like I said, I just kind of watched when it was on, and it was like I said, for a pretty adult show.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm not quite sure if I heard it, or I just haven't seen many advertisements, or...
oh, I guarantee it's not on anymore.
Oh, okay.
But we probably could look it up and find it.
Yeah, for sure. That's something I would be interested in.
Who's you seem interested in and might end up looking up the Deadliest Warrior, Forest and Fire, Sons of Butchers.
Yeah, you do a lot of reality-based shows. I wish I would have thought of that.
Yeah. Well, from 4 to 1 are less reality and more the adult. Well, actually, 5 to 1 are the adult animated shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Number 7. Alright, so this show is really hard to watch because I tried to tape it on my PVR and for some reason it doesn't fucking record. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I tried watching it probably 5 years ago or so. Ignore that. It's a show called Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
And it's basically, well, it's what you think, you know. It's not like the Viking with the hats and the horns and all that kind of stuff. But it's basically a show about these pagans who live in this village. And it focuses on this one family in particular. And the guy who becomes, I don't know if he is necessarily a king, but he's a warrior, and his wife, or whatever you want to call her back then, you know, she has a son. The son, the same actor all through the show. Like, he started off as a little kid, and he's now fucking taller than, well, he's almost an adult, I imagine.
Probably by now.
He goes off to war in this season, and you've got Edge, or Adam Copeland, who just started on the show. He made an appearance on there, and it's a really cool show. It's about, you know, Christians versus pagans, and there's one Christian priest, well, priest or Catholic, but there's this one priest anyways, and he ends up befriending, I want to say Bjorn, but Ragnar. I butchered that, but anyways.
Ragnar?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. And so he kind of follows them. And he gets beaten up by the other pagans, and unfortunately. See, I'm a pagan, and I don't even follow that shit. Like, that's old school.
Yeah,
you know.
way old school.
These guys beat the shit, and they pillage. It was very cool just to see that anyways, so I really enjoyed that. It's a good show, and for some reason, I don't get the newer episodes. But when it was on, it was like, yeah, it shows you it's basically fighting and whatever. And sacrificing goats sometimes, and basically there's this guy, I don't even know if he's a wise man, and he's got no face, just a mouth. It's pretty cool, you know. And there's another show, I can't remember what it's called, but it's called Night. It's a show about knights, and so it's basically these two shows on History Channel.
Right.
If you're from Canada, I don't know if they get it in the U.S., but it's very cool. And I think that if I find it again, like, I'll probably have to buy the seasons or whatever, but it's a pretty cool show.
Right. Next for me is a show that is for teenagers and young adults. It's a fairly random show, but it's also really funny, and you might not fully understand the premise of the show, but watching it is, like, really good. It's a show called Futurama.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, you know, the same guy that made The Simpsons, basically. Matt Groening.
Right.
And yeah, I watched the first season of it, and then I just slowly stopped watching it. You know, no real reason in particular. Sometimes I'll watch the clips of it, but it was never really, I don't know, just something I didn't really follow that well. And it is a good show. I just wish I would. Again, I'm gonna have to buy the DVD set and watch that, because it's a very good show, and from what I've seen anyways, like, it's something I need to catch up on.
Yeah, and, like, the characters in this show are really interesting. Like, you got Fry, who is, like, the really stupid, not very intelligent Earthling who, when he was younger, used to deliver pizzas for a pizza shop, and then ended up getting cryogenetic, basically put in this chamber and frozen, and ended up in the future.
Yeah.
And then you got Zoidberg,
Yeah.
who is like this. He was a doctor, but he's like a crab or lobster or whatever the fuck he is.
Yeah.
And then you got Leela, who is a cyclops.
Yeah. Played by Peggy Bundy.
Yes.
Katie Seagal.
Katie Seagal, yes. And you've got Professor, I forget his name.
Good news, everyone.
He's the old man scientist and invents things. One of the things that I found really cool, I don't ever think it'll ever come into existence, is it's like a telescope, but you can smell things from, like, far away. And then you've got Amy,
Yes.
who is of Asian descent.
Yeah.
And her parents are friggin' funny.
Yeah, I just thought of this now. There's an episode, like, you know how in Futurama they have the celebrities and, like,
Yes.
the glass
Yeah.
heads or whatever?
Yeah.
There's an episode of The Simpsons, like, way, I don't know what episode it is. And they kind of did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where Matt got that idea. I'm not quite sure. I just thought of that now for some reason.
Yeah. And then, of course, you got probably the funniest character on the show. Good old Bender, the drunken robot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
And the interesting thing about it is, for him, because he's a robot, he's like us. Okay, him with alcohol is like us in reverse.
Yeah.
He has to basically drink all the time and be essentially, well, be drinking all the time in order to function normally.
Yeah.
For us, we have to function normally, we have to be sober.
Yeah.
And then when we drink, we get stupid. We get slurring our words and staggering and stuff like that. Well, Bender, that's him when he doesn't drink.
Yeah.
Slurring his words and acting funny and acting weird, and he gets this like rusty 5 o'clock shadow beard thing going. And,
yeah, when I first saw that, that creeped me out.
yeah. And essentially, everybody is like a future space delivery crew. And they deliver packages in outer space with their ship, and they've got themselves into some interesting predicaments, and it's an all around pretty entertaining show.
Yeah. And like I said, I need to brush up on that. Like, I watched the first few episodes of it, and then I was like, not really for me. Which kind of stupid, because it's something I know I would like.
Yeah.
But I've seen bits and pieces of it. I probably have watched a few episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's one episode that made me laugh, but I can't remember what it was. So.
And another character on the show that's really interesting as far as like being an old lady and being a villain, I guess you say, is Mama.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, Mother.
Yeah, Mother, yeah.
Yeah.
And her 3 idiotic sons, and she's always slapping them, and she's always trying to foil Doctor, the old science guy. I can't remember his name, god damn it.
I love you very much. Yeah.
And it's funny, because you see her, she's like this very voluptuous woman, you could say.
Yeah.
But it's actually just like something she can just get into, and like, what would you, like I don't even know what you call it, but in reality she's like this very skinny old lady.
She's got like the haircut, the heart-shaped haircut. But
Like, it's like a bun on the top of your head. It's in the shape of a heart.
yeah, one of those, like one of the few episodes I do remember.
Yeah.
Number 8. Now, I'm a huge fan of sketch comedy. I love sketch comedy, and I wish I can find people to do a bunch of sketches anyways. And so anyways, this show, actually, when I first got the Comedy Network, I think I was like 12, and when my parents weren't in the room, I watched this show. A show from Canada, Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the best shows that I've watched. And you get these like guys who, I guess they're of Scottish descent. You got Kevin McDonald, you got Mark McKinney, Scott Thompson, Bruce McCullough, Dave Foley. These guys basically were raunchy, so that's probably a good thing that I watched it when no one was looking, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it's like they tackle, you know, get drug issues, and even though Scott Thompson was the only gay cast member, the word faggot was on the
Acceptable?
show. What's that?
Acceptable on the show?
Well, yes and no. I mean,
Well, it was frequently used on the show.
it was, yeah. I mean, you got Buddy, the gay bar stool guy who,
Yes.
you know, you got Hecubus, one of my favorite characters, and the Daves I know, and a bunch of cool things that I wish, you know, when I was a kid watching that, I go, gee, I really wish I was a part of that. I actually did an audition tape for YouTube, and dear guy, I clotheslined as you went by on your bike. You know, yeah, it didn't really go over too well. So I did it again, and that didn't go over too well. Anyways, there's a lot of funny laugh out loud moments. Well, one of my favorite sketches was Dave Foley doing that. That was the one that I did on YouTube, and it was pretty cool. And of course, you get, you know, Mark McKinney going off to do Saturday Night Live for a season, and Dave Foley doing news radio, and later on Spun Out, and then Scott Thompson doing movies, and Bruce, who did movies as well, and directing, and Kevin McDonald did voice acting, and other cool things, but just one of the more out there TV shows, you know, that, and it's a Canadian TV show too, so that was very cool. You know, just one of those shows that was really influential for me. You know, me trying to think I can do it and all that shit, but it was a really funny show, and they did do I think it was in Vancouver a few years ago, and they did a stage show, and they did all the sketches that they used to do on TV. Well, most of them.
Yeah.
It was very cool, and Scott Thompson unfortunately got cancer, and survived. He's a survivor now, so just one of those things that was very cool to watch, and you know, who knows if they'll ever get back together again at some point.
I'm crushing your head.
I'm cutting your head. I'm cutting your head. And of course, it's great to serve you, Master. And Satan. Yeah.
There's a few little things from that. I watch that show quite frequently myself, and yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I just thought of that kind of stuck out in my head is seeing Scott Thompson sitting on a bar stool in this bar, wearing like one of those fancy robes,
Yeah.
holding a martini, or what looked like a martini, probably like water or something, and just spouting off about whatever. Yeah, that was a fairly good show.
Yeah. And it ran from 89 to 94. And they never changed. It was very cool. And of course, who could forget Bellini? The guy in the towel. There's a lot of cool sketches. Of course, like, you know, influenced by Monty Python, who had no problem dressing in drag to do a sketch.
Oh no.
You know, Scott and Bruce dressing up as the office ladies.
Hey.
Kathy and Kathy.
Yeah.
And it's a really good show. You know, I wish I could go back and just watch again and again and again.
Moi is a show that we made mention about a few times. I don't really think it would do the show much justice if we didn't go fully into it. The Simpsons.
Yes, the one and only. You know, like I said, I don't know, my parents are weird because they let me watch certain things and they didn't want me to watch certain things.
Yeah.
And I think they had a hard time with me wanting to watch the show, but my dad said, and I think every parent needs to tell their little snots this, is if you copy what's on the television, you're not ever watching it again. I mean, that's what a lot of people do. They copy what Bart Simpson does.
Oh yeah.
But you look at a show, like, I know this is your pick. I just want to say, you're looking at a show that went from being just a part of a Tracy Ullman show into its own.
Yeah.
And you had stars like, you got Aerosmith, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then you go from that to Smashing Pumpkins. You've got Lady Gaga, White Stripes, a lot of these, and then all three Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all three Beatles were on this show. How cool is that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the things that they do on that show and say on that show are quite not recommended for younger children.
Not really. I mean, yeah, it's kind of not as bad as Family Guy. It's just a lot of bad manners. People imitate Bart Simpson or
Eat my shorts.
Nelson Muns or anybody, and it's like, yeah, I can understand why. But again, kids gotta learn, and kids have to learn that there's things that you do not copy off of the television, and
Yeah.
that's only for show. Now you can play it by yourself or with a friend or whatever, and that's fine, as long as it's appropriate. But I don't know. It's weird because it's one of those, you don't want your kids to miss out on certain things, and if they're explained properly. But The Simpsons were definitely one of those shows that are sure not as bad as Family Guy. It was for its time, though. I will say that.
Yeah. And talking about Family Guy and each member of that show and the different qualities that they have. Well, you look at The Simpsons. Okay, you got Maggie, the baby, who's just your regular average baby. Now, there's been some things they've done on the show with Maggie that have been kind of funny, but for the most part, it's just like she's just a baby. And you go into Lisa, who's like the goody two shoes, the brainiac, getting good grades in school and wanting to participate in things at school and just what I'm sure some parents wish their kids were like. And then of course you got Bert, the troublemaker, always getting himself into trouble, doing things you really shouldn't be doing. And of course his signature thing that he quite frequently uses as a slingshot and probably hitting people with it or just having it on in his back pocket. He, I think, was Dennis the Menace before they had Dennis the Menace.
Well, no, Dennis the Menace was like a comic strip, but same idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun. Well, scary too at the same time. It'll be 20 years next year.
Yeah, 20 freaking years.
Like, I fucking watched that show when I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost 34.
34.
Fuck.
Yeah, so you're 14 years older than that show.
I know.
And then of course you got Marge, the regular mom who stays at home, looks after Maggie.
Fun, loving, loves her children, will do anything for them.
Yep.
It's awesome.
And then,
Homer.
of course, you got Homer.
Homer.
The alcoholic father who works in a nuclear plant and you think Bart gets himself into some predicaments? Homer is like the king of klutz.
No, I mean, it's funny because my dad worked in a power plant for years.
Yeah.
And years, and it's probably not as funny as Homer Simpson's
Right.
character, but you have Monty Burns and Waylon Smithers. It's kind of interesting when they first had the show, the first season or so, Waylon was a black guy.
Right.
And for some reason, they made him white. But, yeah, always fun to imitate the Simpsons.
Don't!
Who is that devil? Smithers.
Don't have a cow, man.
Yeah, all that kind of fun stuff.
But you think people imitated Bart quite a lot. I wonder how many people ever imitated Bender. Bite my side of my glass.
Exactly, yeah. The cartoons are awesome, man. Number 9. It's another sketch comedy show across the border. Well, American.
Yes.
You know, it's a show that basically kind of was more towards the black community, I guess. You know, and Live in Color.
Oh, yeah.
And it's cool.
Live in color.
Do what you wanna do.
Live in color.
And it's
Yeah,
one of
a lot of actors that you see in movies nowadays got their start in Live in Color.
You got the Wayans brothers and sister. You've got
Jim Carrey.
David Allen Greer.
Yeah.
You know, Jennifer Lopez was a fly girl.
Mm-hmm.
The show, based in New York, it was very cool. You know, you talk about Family Guy, who is a cartoon that crosses boundaries. You get fucking...
Oh, and Live in Color crossed so many freaking boundaries.
To racism, to, like, prejudice, stereotypes, to... You know, and another show that I watched as a little kid, you know. My older brother taped certain sketches for me that I could watch. But it's one of those things where, yeah, they pushed the envelope. They had Damon Wayans play a character called Handyman. A guy with cerebral palsy. And it's like, I don't know if that's cool, but, you know, it is what it is. That's what they're doing now. So, and of course, you get Fire Marshal Bell. And foul. Terrible.
Yeah, that was
Homie the Clown.
not the best impression. Yes.
Homie the Clown. You've got a lot of Benito Petrel. A lot of cool characters on that show.
Yeah, a couple of characters that came into mind in that sketch from that show. I don't remember the names of the characters, but I think it was Keenan Ivory Wayans and was it Dave Tomlinson portraying gay movie critics.
Yeah, it was Keenan and Damon.
Or Keenan and Damon, yeah.
Yeah, Keenan and Damon Wayans. They did a lot. They did the Men on Films, and they did Brothers. You had, again, a lot of cool shows. The Botmans, and a lot of stuff that, yeah, you kids probably shouldn't watch, but it's not that bad. You know, minus a few things, but I mean, it was really cool. Like, it got, you know, it lasted for a few seasons, and by the end, you know, the Wayans brothers, most of them left. Marlon joined the cast, the youngest of the Wayans brothers, and it was mostly just Sean and Marlon Wayne in the end.
Yes.
And yeah, so it was very cool just to see that. And to see the stars, you got Jim Carrey, Jamie Foxx, Damon Wayans, you know. I think Marlon Wayans is doing some other shows, I can't remember, but
yeah,
you know.
Well, it was, I think, Damon that had the TV show My Wife and Kids.
That's right. Yes. You know, him and David Allen Greer did a show in the 90s. You've got a lot. It was a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But this is a really cool show that gets 2 snaps up.
I'm going to snap a Z formation.
Alright.
It's again a show we made a little bit of reference to, but we'll, again, wouldn't do the show justice if we didn't go fully into it. Seth MacFarlane's other family comedy show, American Dad.
Yes. Yeah, I've watched quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not... Stan Smith is quite the opposite of, I think, what Peter Griffin would be.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, I myself am not a Republican or a conservative guy, but, you know, you watch that show, and it's like, he's quite an asshole.
Yeah.
You got Haley, who's like the stone man.
The rebel child.
Rebel child and Democrat. And
Yeah.
feminist, and Francine, who pretty much fucking does the housewife or whatever.
Yeah. The stay-at-home mother, if you will.
Roger the alien,
Yeah.
who's basically like Bender except an alien.
An alien.
And Steve Smith, who's like the nerd. You got, instead of a dog, a goldfish.
Goldfish named Klaus.
Yeah.
Who's like a German.
She's a German figure skater. And they switch parties, and now he's a goldfish.
Yeah.
It's a really, I mean, it's a good show. I mean, Stan always gets his in the end.
Yeah.
You know, they've also basically pushed the limits on the show.
Oh, yeah.
They've had some wrestlers on there, too.
Yes.
Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. Why do you guys go on your canoe?
Yeah, that episode of Ric Flair is friggin' funny.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like a CIA retreat or something like that, or a family retreat, and he's the director of it or whatever.
Yeah. That was a good show. You know, I think that... Is that still going?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, I gotta catch up with that. I mean, the first 2 seasons were pretty good. I have a lot of them that I have on DVD, a few episodes, you know, but it's a good show. I think Family Guy's a bit better, but...
Yeah. But even if you look at Steve's friends, you know, you got Barry, the overweight kid, you got Snot, kind of the dorky, nerdy, tries to be the ladies' man, but he can't be a ladies' man worth shit. And then you got Toshi, the Japanese friend.
And you know, what's kind of interesting is that he only speaks Japanese, yet his mom, or his parents, speak perfect English.
Speak perfectly fine English.
I mean, they're Japanese too, but...
Yeah, it's Japanese-American, but only Toshi speaks
Japanese. It's like, oh, and I remember one of the episodes. Oh, it's okay, Toshi can go into his house and get one of his dad's mini cameras. He's like, just because I'm Japanese doesn't mean I have a lot of cameras.
You stereotypical bastard.
Yeah, that was a really good show. I'm gonna have to watch the newer episodes now. But, yeah, well, I mean, like it or not, Seth MacFarlane is awesome to begin with, so...
Yeah.
So, with that, my number 1 pick is... Number 10. A show that I'd say influenced me a lot because I'm one of those kids that had a big imagination and was interested in other stuff more than my friends were, so watching this show really made me study a lot more about celebrities and musicians and You could say the same with other Warner Brothers TV shows, but and I would have put Warner Brothers cartoons on here, but what the fuck, really? Animaniacs.
Haha.
Animaniacs was like one of the best cartoons out there, and I remember watching Fox Kids. They advertised it, and it came out in late '92, and there was like, most of the jokes adults would get, but it was really cool, and they had a lot of people that were on the show that I don't think anybody would be interested in, and because I'm that guy that enjoys looking up celebrities and musicians and all that, Animaniacs was a big part of that. I'm like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, look at that. They had a lot of old references that I don't think any other kid would be interested in. And you have Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, who you have no idea what they are. They could be dogs, cats, horses, who knows. But just, black animals with full white faces and a red nose, and then Dr. Scratch and Sniff, and Slappy Squirrel, and Skippy Squirrel. A lot of cool characters on the show. And, like watching, yes, I also watch Tiny Toons, and Bugs Bunny and all that. So, those shows were awesome. And I watch those and I'm brought back to that childhood. And it's because of that, I'm a man child, so.
Oh, I am too.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And I think probably the one thing that basically is a standout for that show is basically like the intro song. They're Animaniacs.
And we're zany to the max. And that's all I know.
Yeah.
But, one of those shows that your kid can learn the country just by watching Echo Warner do the country song in alphabet order, which I think is pretty neat, Again, it's like a lot of references too, like kids aren't gonna know who Don Knotts is, or
Probably not.
well, I might know Michelle Pfeiffer through Batman, but just stuff that you can look up later on in life, and it's like very cool. Like they did an episode about Woodstock, and they had the Who, and I didn't know who they were, but it was like later on seeing them on TV and going, hey, that's the band that was on Animaniacs or whatever.
Yep.
It's like shit. So it's kind of cool just to see what you can later learn, and I guess watching other shows when you're growing up or whatever. So
Certainly. And I think the thing about Animaniacs too is Animaniacs kind of led into Looney Tunes.
Actually, that's the other way around.
Okay.
There was Bugs Bunny, and Looney Tunes. And then you had Tiny Toons in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And then they came out with Animaniacs. And from there, it was like Tasmania and Freakazoid especially. Just a bunch of cool shit that, once again, made me the man child I am today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, numéro un pour moi est... I probably could go fully into French on that, but my French is, like, I've done, what I said
Come
is...
see, come ça.
Yeah. Fairly rusty. I learned French in school, but I haven't really needed to use it, so, I do know French, but...
Yeah.
To be fluent in it, I probably need to brush up on it. Anyways. Number one for me is a show that I have watched. I don't watch it regularly. It's, again, a young adult kind of show, and it's also a show where they have some pretty over-the-top, racist, risky, sometimes inappropriate things on the show. South Park.
There it is. And I'm very surprised at myself because all the time that South Park has been on here, I've never really watched a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those shows that would be up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
Watching The Simpsons and Family Guy and all that other stuff. But I do know a lot. I do know a few episodes and stuff. And again, there's a lot of cool sayings on that. So, it's easy pervs and
You bastard! You killed Kenny!
man, I'm a dark goddamn Hungarians. Get down on my shitty wall.
Yeah.
He's a brother!
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go on for days.
Oh, yeah, man.
You got the Canadians, Terrence and Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a show that, again, went by the censors and, you know, was the reason why Isaac Hayes left the show for one bad episode, I guess.
Ooh.
They mock the hell out of everything, though. It was
Yeah.
like, I did see Bigger, Badder, the movie. That was a good movie.
Yeah, Bigger, Badder, and Uncut or something like that.
Yeah, as for the show, I've seen a few episodes. Those ones that I probably quoted. The WWF episode. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, that was a show that I wish I was more of a fan of, but it was, you know, it was good for what I saw, anyways.
Yeah, very good show. Like I said, there's some things on that show that are, you look at it and you go, oh my god, I can't believe they actually televised this shit.
I know.
But, nevertheless,
Yeah.
good show, funny show, and yeah.
Very awesome. So, those were our 10 picks for television shows that we like. It was very fun to do. You know, like I said, it's always hard to come up with lists, but as you go on, you know.
Once you get one or two, the rest kind of come naturally.
Yeah. So that's cool. We want to do some honorable mentions, or
Let's see here. Well, for me, one of my big things I'm into, and Matt's kind of gotten into, I think, but I'm kind of more follow it and regularly into it, is food shows.
oh, well, no. I mean, I've always been into food shows.
I mean, like, what do we have? You got Diners, Drives, and Dives. You got Beat Bobby Flay.
Yeah. You gotta eat here.
Yeah.
There's like diners, drive-ins, and dives, the American version of You Gotta Eat Here.
Yeah.
You've got oh shit, Chopped.
And
You know, when I was
Cutthroat Kitchen.
when I was a kid, I used to watch Urban Peasant. And
Oh yeah.
Yank and Cook and
Mhm.
Pasquale, the singing Italian chef.
Oh yeah, one of the best.
Oh yeah. And of course there's others like, you know, Chef at Home. Because of that show I want to move to PEI.
Oh god, yeah,
Yeah.
really. Well,
Yeah.
even when I got into watching the Food Network, I of course watched the original Iron Chef show. And then, of course, they came out with the American version, and I started watching that. But I also watched The Essence of Emerald, and then it became
Yes.
Emerald Live, and then there's 30-minute meals with Rachel Ray,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Worst Cooks in America.
Yeah, Chef at Home with Michael Smith.
Yeah.
I did a lot of other shows too, actually.
Oh yeah, Fred, yeah.
For me, you know, again, I do love cooking shows and stuff like that. But watching, like I said, I don't watch too many reality shows. So, for me, it was like Modern Family was one I would have put on my list. But that's a good show. You have the Pritchards and Dunphys, and it's a really good show. Another documentary style video show, very cool. How I Met Your Mother, another show that I watched all the seasons of, and I thought the ending was bullshit. But they did do another re-edit of the ending, the alternative ending. So there's that.
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory, I think maybe next year we'll have to do another one of these, because I never even thought of that show. But this has been a good episode of Wheels of Fury. A very fun episode. I think we can come up with more of these, but
More than likely.
we probably will. I mean, besides wrestling and MMA, and for you like the baseball and hockey, and I mean, the Jays are winning, so now I'm watching baseball. Well, sort of. But,
when you can.
Yeah, when I can. It's a good shit, Anyways, I mean, we're gonna try to find more things to talk about, other than wrestling, because I know reviewing every week would be a little bit boring, I would think. So, anyways, we'll see what we can come up with for next week, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out. For me, Matt, this is Killer Kyle. Yeah, we will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace out,